And it says we are live. We'll give it just a few moments, make sure that everything comes on all right.
Yeah, I might have a delay here.
Yep, we are on.
Hello, Gun Nation.
Hello, everybody. How you all doing tonight? I see we've got a couple people in the house, some early risers, so to speak. I'm trying not to say everybody's name so much anymore. You guys all know who you are, and we appreciate each and every one of you. But guys, as always, thank you very much for joining us. We're going to give it a couple more minutes for everybody to file on in. And in the meantime, how's everybody doing? How are you doing, Big Johnson?
I am living the dream, sir. How are you?
Doing okay for a Wednesday.
There you go. Hump day.
Hump day. That's exactly right.
And just so y'all know, out in the chat, 1776 is on assignment this evening, so he will not be joining us. He's with us in spirit, but he will not be with us this evening.
He is buying all of the 6-hour P365s that he can possibly find.
All he can carry for under $1.
All of them. He's going to just wrap them around him everywhere.
Yeah. Let's see if we've had any questions yet. Oh, yeah. Tonight's the 2-guy gun chat. Sean's right. Yep. Like I said, he's here in spirit, though. So
that's exactly right. So as people continue to file in, and we will say this several times. First, this chat is brought to you by Tundra Tactical, our friends over there. Remember, we had Tundra on a couple of weeks ago. So much fun with him. They've released a couple of videos since then. And I encourage you guys to go and subscribe to that channel. I mean, they just do an awesome job. They're great guys. And they actually have their first live stream coming up this Saturday night at 9 o'clock Central Standard Time. So if you guys are able to join Tundra Tactical, and they've got a special guest on there from, I believe, Australia, if I'm not mistaken. And that's really cool. So obviously, everybody's really good about supporting everybody else out there. I will definitely be there, all things willing. So be sure to join them out there. And again, we'll remind everybody 1 or 2 more times.
Yep. Yep. So he's sending tons of money into the channel, and we're going to throw up a big sponsorship of Tundra Tactical. No, I'm joking.
Right.
So, no, good guy. And as we always say, everyone in the channel or in the chat here, please reach out to each other, subscribe to each other. You know, we're a great community, and we want to keep it in our group and, you know, grow this community that we have. So we're very lucky to have it.
Absolutely. The Music's saying that she just bought a new tire. Music, hope it was more than one tire. Otherwise, you could have bought a firearm. You're saying tires are expensive. I tell you what, that's absolutely right. I think a set of 4 on my car would be right around $900 or something like that. And that would be a nice firearm for sure.
Hell, I just had one where I got a screw through the sidewall, and it was $300 for one tire. So that's the difference between heavy duty truck tires, though, too. But
that is very true. And 17 looks like briefly in the house, even though he's on assignment. Way to be covert there, buddy.
Yeah, he's a force ghost.
Force ghost.
Oh, she had to buy 4 tires. Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
Okay. We do have a question. What the heck are our alternatives once YouTube silences us?
It's a tricky sentence for sure. So I would have done the same thing. We've been talking about a lot of different alternatives out there. People have been throwing out all sorts of ideas from, I think, Vimeo to GunTube, whether it be .com or .org. Apparently, there are 2 different ones. Some people have been suggesting, Pornhub, I think, and that would be an interesting mix. Guns and other parts.
Yeah.
Then there's also a Full 30. You know, we've been talking a little bit about that, and they've got plastered up on Full 30 that they're going to open their doors to other channels. Who knows if that's going to happen? I mean, Big Johnson, what do you think about all this? What do you think about all the channels?
Well, I mean, you know, I have signed up for the GunTube. However, it's not working correctly for me. Matter of fact, I even downloaded. Basically, what I can do is I can go on. And I've been set up in there. And if you go to my channel, it'll show my little channel icon there, but it's not an icon. It's just a little blue man and has my name on there and everything. And I've got 5 subscribers. And I try to change the icon and it won't let me. It says, oops, no channel exists. So I downloaded a video tonight to see if that would change. And it said the video was accepted. So I went to tap the video and it said, oops, you don't exist. So I don't know. And I have signed up for Full 30. I don't know when they're going to open it up or if they are, or, who knows what they're going to do. So I've got my name over there, and that's kind of where I am right now. I'm going to be working on some other stuff, but right now that's where I am. We want to fight the fight, and I would love to stay with YouTube. I don't think we do anything out of the realm as far as what their policies are, but we don't control that either. And also with all these gun nuts, I mean, I've gotten tons of people on my channel from whatever that group is that's sponsored this march. They're coming on and saying, we're going to shut down your gun channel. And had a guy say, why don't you shoot your whole family, your kids, and then shoot yourself? That was the comment. I'm like, are you kidding me? I mean, this is the crap that we're having to put up with. So whatever.
Yeah, no kidding. Sorry, I was just reading a new comment on the channel. Some people have not really appreciated the fact that I've chosen the Shield over the 365, but that's a story for another day. So everybody has an opinion, right?
Yep.
So yeah, I've been doing a lot of thinking about the channel, especially if for some reason we go dark on YouTube. And I said, a lot of you guys may have seen, I know Pop saw it. I released a very short, just kind of an update video and talked a little bit about the what ifs and any plan for the channel, to which I have very little of one, other than the application to Full 30, which I did. But I've been thinking a lot about it. I've been asking people at work, I've been asking people at Centerfire Shooting Sports, and people in the comments have left some interesting remarks about this as well. And a lot of people have said the same thing. They are going to struggle to go somewhere else outside of YouTube for gun-related content. And it's not because they don't like the content. Obviously, we're all sitting here watching gun content to one degree or another. But the fact is, we go to YouTube for a lot of things. I mean, I go to YouTube. I love to watch car videos, like new cars out on the market. I've always been kind of a car junkie just to see what's out there. I watch a lot of music videos and small kind of unheard of bands. You guys all know I was a musician for 30 years. So I spend a lot of time doing that stuff. So I spend a lot of time, I'd say probably 60% of my time watching videos unrelated to guns, just because I enjoy it. And that's kind of my primary means of entertainment. I don't watch a lot of television. And so for me, going from watching, say, a music video from a band I like, and then wanting to think about, okay, I want to go watch a video about the CZ Scorpion Evo or something like that. How inclined am I, or other people like you guys all out there, how inclined are we going to be to switch to another platform, especially something like Full 30 that doesn't have an app on it? It's just got the website. So go out there and turn that on and find the video you want to watch. Perhaps we will, but I sort of think we may lose a lot of audience, and I think we would lose it naturally just by way of convenience more than anything else. And that is a really big concern. I've had some people flat out say, I don't think I want to go anywhere else other than YouTube to get content. And I totally understand that. So that's a really big concern.
Yeah, YouTube is definitely one-stop shopping. They kind of offer everything, and you don't have to go to all these different things. And you're exactly right. I've been saying that about Full 30, that I really hope they get an app, because it definitely would make it a lot easier. But we'll see. We'll have to just see.
Right.
And we do have to, let's see here. Someone got a new gun. I'm sorry. I was holding it and my phone skipped. Mad Max. Yeah, Mad Max got a Compact 2.0.
Nice. It's a phenomenal gun. It is absolutely a champion for sure.
Yep. And I've shot it, and it is a very nice pistol. And I'm a big M&P fan. I've got a few of them and really enjoy them. So congrats on that. Let's see here.
Real quickly, Big J, SJR, or maybe it's RS Junior. I'm not sure. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you were saying, I wanted the SIG P365, but the excellent Harry's holster, and I agree, he is definitely excellent. And he had a review that showed some issues, and that is a perfect example of how these videos help regular people. You said a mouthful right there. We all go to YouTube, whether it's gun related or not. And yes, Tundra, I don't just watch gun videos, but we go there to get a lot of information from real world people that have real world experiences. And admittedly, sometimes we as reviewers get chastised for that a little bit, but we're sharing our experiences. Harry's got a lot of thoughts on his experience with the P365. Poe Performance, me, a lot of channels out there have got experience on guns like that. And so we all congregate to see what other people think of the guns. And sometimes I'll go out and I'll buy a gun, and then I'll come home and I'll watch some videos on it just to see what other people say. But also I do it for a research tool, and Big J, you probably do too.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I've looked up other stuff on it too, like other reviews, non-gun related and stuff like that. I mean, it's just a great, it's a wealth of information. However, it's a leftist wealth of information. Oh gosh, 1776 has a question.
Oh my God.
What do you guys like better, a P10 or a P07?
17, you owe me $1.99. I would say personally the P10. That would be my choice.
I have not shot officially the P10. I've put my hands on it many times, and honestly, I really do like the P07 a lot. Not just because I own one, but the P10 to me, I really wish they would have went with the inner slide rails to keep it a true CZ. But I just haven't pulled the trigger on it. I've had many times and many opportunities to get the P10C, and I just haven't yet. I'm not saying that it's a bad gun, and if I shot one, when I go to Kansas, I'll shoot KSs, and it could change. But I have so many striker fire guns, I really don't think that brings a ton of newness to the party for me. So
yeah, definitely good.
That's why I personally haven't gotten one. And I mean, you just can't beat the P07 single action trigger. I mean, other than with a Shadow or a TSO or something like that. But for what that gun, the bang for the buck with the P07, it's a phenomenal gun. So
yeah, I agree. Boy, we're getting an echo, buddy.
I am echoing
a little bit. So Sean was saying, before I buy anything gun related, I almost always watch a YouTube video about it. Amen. I think a lot of us do. I think we want to go out and we want to see what big channels and little channels think about it. I think that's really important. It's a great research tool. Matt Vick is saying, if they shut down you guys or Nolan, I'll leave YouTube behind. Our sincerest thank you. You probably won't. I mean, there's so much out there on YouTube. God, you can find anything you want. And that's another reason why I'm hoping we get to stay, because it's a wealth of power for us all to be able to get the information we want, the how-tos and the informational videos and entertainment videos and that sort of thing. I mean, it would just be a real shame if for some reason YouTube really was douchey enough to kick us all off.
Yeah. And like I said, I'm going to ride it out. I don't foresee that it's going to be as bad as what everyone says it's going to be. Now, we don't know, because we're, you and I and 17, I mean, we're not reloaders. I wish I was doing that right now, but I'm not. So I don't, other than doing that AR upper build, but I didn't show it being built. I just built it. I don't know. It's just we're just gonna have to play by ear. All of a sudden, if we start getting strikes, then we know shit's up, and if we don't, then we're just gonna ride it out and see.
Yeah.
NC Civil War saying, that the hotel rooms look real nice. Yeah, it's a freaking box. I mean, it's not tiny, but it's a damn hotel room. And it's not fun being out of a suitcase and having shitty internet for sure.
Right. Compton Terry is saying, I own a Gen 5, G19, and G26. They are amazing. Give Glock its due. Terry, Glock's great. I think a lot of people would agree with you. I certainly do. The 19C is still one of my favorite guns in the collection. I love it. And I think Glock does a good job. I still maintain that there are some other great options out there. And as Big Johnson, I'm sure you'll say it here in just a second. I'll let you say it. But it's great that we have so many different options and can pick different things. But Glock definitely gets its due.
Yeah, and I joke around about Glock. I mean, Glocks work. They work. People, they're just not for everyone. They're not for me specifically. But I will never honestly discredit a Glock. I just joke about it. And like KS was saving it for me, because it's my famous line, but there are 31 flavors. So whatever the hell you like, please use it. If it works for you, use it. I grew up in a different era. I've seen a lot of the younger guys who are tuned to Glocks, and that's what they started with. I started with the 1911, so it's a whole different ball game. So, you know, that it's just kind of how I came up in firearms, and other people came up different ways. So, yes, Glocks work.
Absolutely, absolutely, they do. Let's see what else is going. Tundra was saying that he got a CZ, so congratulations on that.
Yeah, and Kevin Roberts, he made the funniest comment on my video today, where I was in the car and I was going on my little rant. I kept moving my hands. I'm a hand guy. Got to move my hands. And he, that's probably the funniest comment I've ever gotten in my life. He said when I was moving my hand, it looked like one of those foam fingers at a football stadium. You know, those big, like your number one. I guess because my hands are so big, I thought it was pretty damn funny. He said he laughed the whole time through the video because he kept staring at my hands.
Nice.
So, but yeah, I think we're going to be okay. I mean, I don't think that, you know, I just don't predict that we're all going to start flying out of here.
Yeah, it's possible. Our brother from the north, Alaskan Ballistics, is saying we are fighting gun control here in Alaska. HB 75 will give judges and police the power to take firearms without a warrant for suspicion of possible things. That's very scary, my friend. That is very scary.
Yeah. You know, when they start taking firearms first and asking questions later, there's a big problem with that. And that's when, you know, these people have to stand up. I mean, I understand if you've got some crazy guy in the street waving a gun or something like that, that's a whole different ball game. But if they just start coming in and taking guns and then asking questions later, there's going to be hell to pay for that. I know that we would stand up for that, and I'm sure Alaskan people will too.
Right. What else we have going on here?
Entitled generation. Frank is saying I was born before the entitled generation, apparently, because I didn't have Glock.
Baldy's talking about something. Is it Baldy? Do you still not have your 365? Is that the deal? Is that what you're talking about?
He's probably whining about it, I'm sure.
Man, that's
Matt
crazy.
Vick just got his first Glock.
Nice, congratulations.
Yeah.
Which one?
I didn't say, he just said he got his first Glock, so I haven't seen what type it was yet.
Damn it, spit it out, man. Which one did you get?
Yeah, you got to bring details. We like the details.
Let's see. Compton Terry is saying Alaska, Montana, Wyoming, and Idaho will be the last places to lose their rights to bear arms. Brother, knock on wood. I hope a lot of us don't lose our rights. I like to think that Kansas and Missouri and places like that are pretty safe too, but no place is really safe.
Yeah.
So,
well, and if you think about it, I mean, you know, Texas used to be super hardcore Republican, but you know, the San Antonio area, Austin area, especially Austin, you know, Austin is you know, it's really flipping and becoming liberal. It's definitely different from when I was younger and went to Austin. Whole different ball game now. I was just in Austin, you know, when this bombing went off, and it's a whole different look there. And you know, it is what it is. I mean, you know, people move from those states, come here and start spreading their little virus. So that happens. That's why I think if we can do more videos of getting the word out, reaching your senators, emailing them, you know, calling, doing things like that. If we can get more word out about that, you know, that just helps our fight too.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Let's see here.
Hunts is asking Nolan if he's going to do any more chats. Nolan, you're in the spotlight, brother.
Uh-oh.
Oh, let's see. I haven't done any for a while, but I do plan on doing more. Okay, so that's good. That's good to hear. We miss your chats, brother. So we look forward to having those come back online. And speaking of, we've got a bigger crowd now. I'll do another quick shout out to Tundra Tactical. You guys remember he joined us a couple of weeks ago. That was a ton of fun to have him. They are actually doing their first live stream on Saturday night at 9 o'clock Central Standard Time on Tundra's channel. So if you guys have an opportunity, join them out there. I'm sure it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yep. Indeed. NC Civil War just said, did you see that the federal judge just approved $75 million worth of loans for Remington to keep them making guns? I had not heard that. I've been out of the loop for a couple of days. But gosh, that's That's a lot of money. So, I mean, we got to, you know, I'm all for keeping firearms, people in business.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Milehide 52801 has a question. Big J, do you carry your PO7 with the decocker? By the way, Colorado used to be a solid red state. I miss Texas, especially the barbecue. Yes, we have great barbecue. Yeah, let me just show you. Matter of fact, I'll do a gun check real quick. And I still have it on. I do have the PO7, and it actually is in the decocker configuration. And I can carry it in the safety. It doesn't matter to me. I'm just so used to the decocker. So this is loaded, but there's the decocker. So, and it is in the Harry's holster, bright orange.
That's a good looking holster.
Kiss setup. Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot, and it wears really nicely.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I'm digging Harry's holsters. I've got several, and they do exactly what I need them to do, and they're super light.
Yeah, and you can set it up any way you want it. So that's the cool thing. You're not stuck with what they want. You can get how you want. There's Keenan Gillum. I don't know if y'all saw his video. He just got a brand new PO1, and he retired from the police force, I believe, as of yesterday. So congratulations, Keenan. We appreciate you and your law enforcement expertise and helping keep the city safe. So congratulations on your retirement, sir.
Heck yeah.
Where's the Scorpion? Actually, the Scorpion, I didn't bring the Scorpion this week. I brought it last week. I brought the PO7 and the Shadow 2, and that's what I have with me right now. And 2 guns I dropped off at my gunsmith. So, and I'm in good old Longview, Texas this evening.
I was ankle carrying this today, just so you know, so everybody's aware. It kind of dragged a little bit, but it was all right. It did the job. So so I'm pretty impressed with that.
Oh yeah, that trigger. Did you show the trigger and the new?
Oh, all right. So some of you guys saw on Instagram, I posted some pictures before the trigger was installed. So I did get the HB Industries trigger installed, so it matches the charging handle there. And we also did the spring kit on it, and it's funny. So I got a Hollow Sun red dot for it, which, by the way, guys, that Hollow Sun is freaking awesome. For the money, I could pay it $170 for the thing, and it works like a dream. But we installed the spring kit and the trigger and everything, and so I went to shoot it, and I just shot 100 rounds just to sight it in and make sure that everything functioned. And one thing I noticed was the reset was not working very well. It was very weak. There were a couple of times I had to kick the trigger back into the starting position. And so I took it home and took it apart. And I took the trigger pack in the polymer, so everything, you know, comes out in one. It's very easy to clean and maintain. I looked down there and I was able to find the reset spring. And basically what had happened was, I think when it was installed so it was pressing up against the very edge of the metal housing of the trigger pack. So I just took a tiny little screwdriver, popped it back into where it needed to be, and now I'll tell you what, that reset is freaking awesome. That trigger spring kit, if you have a Scorpion Evo S1, S2, S3, whatever they are, if you've got any of those, that spring kit's like 10 or 12 bucks. It might be the best 10 or 12 bucks you ever spend, because it takes about 2.5, almost 3 pounds off that trigger, and it's a great, really nice reset as long as the spring is in the right place. But it's pretty good. And music lover, no, nobody's looking at my pants. They're not that interested, believe me. So they did not notice the Evo with me. But anyway, so yeah, I've been very impressed. Captain, the Hollow Sun, that's the 503B, I think. I believe it's pretty plain Jane, pretty basic. It does have the little red dot as well as the ring red dot, and I love it.
Yeah, and I do want to get the trigger. I want to get the trigger spring and the charging handle for mine, because the charging handle on the Scorpion is pretty small, and I know that gives a lot of extra oomph, and I definitely need that to grab onto. So.
Well, and also, like for mine, I didn't do an aftermarket rail or anything like that. I kept the polymer frame, and the stock charging handle is also polymer. So there's an opportunity for there to be a little bit of rubbing going on. So this charging handle is steel, and it makes it much smoother. So, I mean, it is a great package for a lot less than you would spend for a lot of other good quality 9mm carbines.
Yeah, runs like a scalded dog. I've never had a problem with mine at all, and I've put a ton of rounds through it. And I know you ran a lot of rounds through yours too, and didn't have any issues. Yeah, and I picked up another toy, so I'll be doing a review on that. But and I won't show what it is, but it'll be exciting. Matter of fact, I hadn't even shown what the other one is, so I have two that I haven't shown yet.
Sweet.
So
1776, you're doing a terrible job of being on assignment. Get out of here.
Yeah, I know. He should be our hype man, and he's not getting it done. But
hey, Gerald's out there. Good to see you, buddy. It's been a little while.
Bo jumped in, so
nice.
And Viborg. Yeah, and the cool thing about even traveling with the with the Scorpion too is you have the same caliber compatibility. That is the good thing. So you can bring a ton of ammo, ton of mags, and just load them up. And those mags, I mean, and shout out to Pop's Quest too. If you have a CZ Scorpion, he makes a mag loader for it now. So you just basically put your rounds in there, put your mag in there, ram them in, and you're done. So it makes mag loading very, very easy and quickly.
Nice. So he was also saying, Pops was saying that you can't use the charging handle with the aluminum handguard. Yeah, I would imagine that's right. I think HB also has a polymer one. I think they have one that goes with their aluminum handguard. So you just have to pick the right one. And then Compton Terry was saying, when does the Evo Micro K come out? I think it's summer of this year.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen, I guess update reviews on it, but I mean, we've had the prolonged wait before, so when it hits, it hits. So yeah, we got the finger wave from 17. We always appreciate that.
I think that was directed at me.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, the steel. Yeah, okay. If you ever guys see one of the steel frame PO1s. Yeah, the PO1 is the aluminum, and then the 75 Compact is the steel. So, but he's probably talking about the PO1, and yeah, we both have the PO1s in the alloy. He has the Urban Gray. I have the standard one. 17 has both.
Nice.
So, question. Well, okay. Compton Terry has a question. And it is for the crowd, so I guess it's us included. Which is louder, 5.56 and an AR-15 or a 9mm out of a handgun? I'm getting mixed data. Many sources say the 9mm handgun is louder.
I would say not. I would say that a 5.56 is going to be louder, especially depending on the length of barrel. The shorter the barrel, the louder it's going to be.
And the comp, like some of the comps are super, super loud. Some aren't, but I would say, well, I mean, with shooting, and I've shot both with just standard foamies in, 9mm doesn't bother me at all, and the 5.56 definitely is louder out of the two for me, but I guess it would depend on what brake you have. So.
Yeah. Hey, real quickly, a couple of things. So the guest that Tundra is going to have on Saturday is actually he's on with us right now in the chat, Shooting Stuff Australia. So everybody say good day, mate, to him. That would be awesome, and hopefully I said that right. Not trying to be a dick. And then also, so another guy that's in the chat room, Rabbi Jesus, is in there. And the reason I'm picking on him here for a moment, every once in a while, you guys, we share stories of some of the comments that we get on our channel, and most of the comments are fantastic. And you guys always leave amazing comments. We have great conversations, which I appreciate, and I'm sure Big Johnson does too. But every once in a while, we get comments that are a little bit out of left field. And I had a guy a little bit earlier today make a couple of singular comments. In other words, he was not adding it on to a previous comment chain just to me or just to leave comments. And they were very odd. I mean, one was blah, 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 get to the point. Obviously, I've got longer videos, deal with it. But then he also said, oh shit, now I can't remember what he was saying. I mean, it was some sort of like old Western phrase. I mean, I kind of felt like are we in a 40s Western movie right now? But then he made a comment to my buddy Rabbi Jesus out there, and made a derogatory comment, so booted him right away. But Rabbi, I'm sorry that you had to deal with that, and he is no more. So I have no tolerance for people going after other people on my channel. So
yeah. Same here.
What's going on here?
I am trying to fix this volume. Hopefully that'll be better. And I'm sorry, hotel internet. Emmanuel was, I'm going to butcher this name, Fuzzaza. He just got a Rigger Security 9 for $275. He likes it better than his M&P 2.0.
Wow, that's a hell of a deal. First, so yeah. Congratulations on that find. But they are good guns. they're very good guns. I was very impressed.
Yeah.
Firearms 101 is saying, if you can get your hands on one, please do a little shooting with the Bursa BP9cc. I have a feeling you would love the trigger. Now, is that the bigger Bursa that's almost like a competition firearm?
That's the Thunder Pro.
Okay, so that's so it's a different one. So the Bursa, I got to look this up here real quick. You've got me really curious.
I think that's the 15-round one, I believe.
BP9cc. Let's see what this is.
Mil-spec guy, yeah, the shadows are super cheap. You can just buy like a dozen of them. He's joking and saying a cheap shadow. He's not familiar with the term.
That Bursa looks nice. That looks like a decent gun. You know, it's funny. That's a great suggestion. And firearms, I will definitely keep my eye out for Bursas because several people kind of piqued my interest in them. I must be honest with you, however, aside from a Bursa Thunder a long time ago, I don't think I've ever seen another Bursa in a local gun store here. And I'm not saying that because they're bad guns or anything. I just, for whatever reason, most of the shops around here carry pretty specific brands like Glock or CZ, that sort of thing. So I just don't run across Bursas very often, even at Cabela's or places like that.
Yeah, I've seen the older ones, you know, like the old 380s and stuff. I'll see them used occasionally. But I know the firearms guy just reviewed this new Bursa, but I haven't watched it yet. I saw that he did one, though.
Right.
Okay, Rabbi Jesus has a question for us. Do you guys have actual truck guns, pistols that spend the entirety of existence in your vehicle? Should we worry about ammunition I can't say it.
Degradation.
Yes. Okay, so do you have a gun that specifically stays in your vehicle?
I won't answer that, but no, honestly, I actually do not 24 hours a day. And the reason is my work actually won't allow a firearm in the vehicle because it's on the property of work. So I can't. It's too bad. I really wish I could. And I have fought that time and time again, but the company will not allow it. So I don't. However, I may or may not have a firearm in my vehicle outside of work hours. Yes, that is a concern. I think a little bit. However, I think that would be over a pretty long period of time unless you live in certain climates like coastal climates. Maybe that's more of an issue. You guys that are more ammo, Alaskan Ballistics or somebody chime in, whatever. But I would say cycle your carry or defense ammo. I don't know, Big Johnson, I don't know what you think, but I'd say probably every 6 months or a year anyways.
Well, as long as you do not, you know, like well, as far as your carry gun, if you keep it loaded all the time, you know, and you're not cycling it and releasing that round out of the chamber, you know, it's fine there. And yeah, I would probably do it every 3 to 4 months. I'll go out and just shoot it up and then, you know, do something else. But as far as ammo in my vehicle, I keep ammo in my vehicle and have for years, but it's rotated. I keep 12 gauge, I keep 5.56, 223, 22, and 9mm in there at all times. And if you look at the truck lockbox I have now, the video I did, I do have ammo in there as well. And I've never had a problem with the ammo not functioning correctly. Now, as far as a dedicated truck gun where it just lives in my truck, no, I carry a lot of guns with me, but they all come into the hotel at night and they go back into the truck. So just in case the truck is stolen or broken into or whatever, I don't want to give someone a free gun. So
yeah. Several people are saying to cycle their ammo. Compton Terry is saying cycle your ammo about every 6 months. Insight Freedom is saying 6 to 12 months. And I think it's a really good idea too, because it also gives you an excuse to just you cycle some of that ammo through the firearm you're using anyways. So you get reminded of what that feels like, because self-defense ammo feels different than target ammo most often. So it's good to do that. It also just checks for functionality. I mean, I think it's a good excuse to just, cycle through that ammo, get a couple new boxes, load them up, and you're ready to go.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. Greg McCoy says he hasn't found a Shadow 2 for less than 1060, and I have sent out alerts to buddies and stuff where they were $9.99. I know that Inside Freedom bought one. A couple of people bought them. They pop up occasionally, but 1060 is a pretty fair price too, depending on if it's the urban gray. Usually the urban gray is less expensive, but yeah, they're definitely coming down because they're becoming more readily available. So, if you find one and it's a good price, I would jump on it because they go quickly.
Nice. Gunny G, everybody do not show up at his house unannounced with all the loaded guns there. I appreciate that, though. Johnny Danger, this is for both of us, Big Johnson. Ever shoot the P229? Do you find that you have to zero in on target because of the bore axis? Example, after shooting a gun with a lower bore axis. That's a great question. What do you think?
High bore axis, low bore axis, small bore axis, it doesn't really bother me. It's going to be a different point of aim, 6 o'clock, etc. But I mean, especially if I've shot lower guns, I might have to adjust after the first shot, but it's not anything dramatic for me.
Okay.
What about you?
Well, and it's funny you mentioned that. So I've been spending a little bit of time with my 229 Legion. I absolutely love this gun. It's one of my favorites in the collection. I mean, it really is phenomenal. So I'm a big fan of the 229 and 226. That whole line of firearms, I think, is fantastic. I'd actually like to get a 220 at some point in time. But yeah, I'll be honest with you, Johnny. I notice a difference, especially if I've spent a lot of time with a Glock or M&P or P10C, things like that do have lower bore axis. I notice that it takes me a moment or two to get back, and it's the same thing with like a P320. I mean, it's got a higher bore axis. That slide does sit a little bit higher. So to me, I feel like I have to just kind of wrench down a little bit more. But once I firm up my grip and I'm not so spoiled by that really low slide, it's no big deal. And you just get kind of right back into it.
Yeah. And then I guess it's RS Junior. Biggest thing, make sure you completely dry the residue cleaning oil off of your chamber and mag wells so it doesn't seep down into your semi-auto or semi-automatic ammo. Yeah, I don't over lube my guns. I'm not the guy that really douses them down, and you're exactly right. You just want to clean the residue off, and I've never, ever had an issue with that. I've shot some guns where buddies pretty much look like they put wheel bearing grease on them, and that shit was everywhere. And not to mention your first shot after they've cleaned it, all that crap's coming back on you. So yeah, I had wheel bearing grease shit all over me. So you don't need that much damn lube on your guns.
So I take a totally different school of thought. Now, I don't believe to a point where it's splashing on you. Yes, I totally agree that's too much. However, when I first buy a firearm, I will give it a little bit more oil than I do, 6 months to a year down the road in it. And in fact, I had a conversation with a guy. A guy called me out on that because I mentioned that on my videos that I get a little bit more oil than I would normally when I'm breaking in a firearm because a little bit of oil can soak into the metal. And he said, oil can't soak into metal. That's impossible. And I said, that is absolutely not true. If you look at the metal under a very good microscope, you will see the Grand Canyon. So there are lots of pits and grooves and ditches to where that oil can get in there in just those little places and kind of hide out a little bit. And what's nice is kind of like you say, you can run it with just a little bit of oil and not quite a dry lube, but it almost creates a little bit of a dry lube down the road. So when you go in and you clean it, you wipe it off and you apply just a tiny bit later on, there's a little bit of that residual there to help protect the metal. Yeah. I'm a big believer in that.
Yeah. No, I've never had a stoppage, never had a failure on an AR, shotgun, pistol, anything. I mean, I learned from some old guys, and they apparently knew what they were doing. So, but with the oils that we have now, I mean, they're much better than the conventional stuff they used way back in the day too. So they have a lot better properties and viscosity, etc. So
So this conversation is kind of taking an interesting turn, and people are talking about some of the different methods that they have. Like Sean is talking about grease on the rails and oil on the barrel. Let's see, I've seen a couple, but mil-spec guy was talking about wheel bearing grease. Does work well in semi-auto pistols. So we've had this conversation one or two times, different methods that we use, or if we use oil or grease, or how we do it. So remind everybody, what do you typically use?
What I use is Battleborn, and I use the cleaner and then clean it. And you can use CLP to clean it if you choose to. And then I use the Battleborn thicker oil. It's not a grease, it's an oil, and it has a needle, and you can actually put it exactly where you want to. So, I put it on the couple of drops on the internal springs, on the slides, and then I work it. And that's about what I do. But then on the AR, on the bolt, I actually use old school axle wheel bearing grease, high heat, and that's what I use on the AR and other firearms, and some other ones. But wheel bearing grease is awesome. It's been around forever, and I've known guys that have ran the crap out of it and never had an issue with it. So, but that again, we go the 31 flavors. There's so much stuff out there, and everyone hears something different. I've had people argue with me when I just do a video of how I do it. And I'm like, hey, whatever you want to use is fine.
Right.
I'm not telling you what to use. What about you?
So I use a combination of different things. For most of my guns right now, I'm actually using that Battleborn HB or HP Pro. I can't stand their solvent. I think that's water in a bucket, but I really like their oil quite a bit. It is, so far, it's stood up to basically everything. And the way I judge that, after I've gone, shooting 300 whatever rounds, when I take it home and I clean it, if there's still some of that oil residue on the rails and the places where I put it originally, I've got pretty good confidence, at least for the environments that I shoot in. So, but for 1911s and that sort of thing, I typically use grease. I use grizzly grease, and that seems to work really well because it does create more of a dry lube on those slides. And with 1911s, I mean, you almost have to over lube a lot of those. So,
especially when you break them in.
Especially when you break them in, that's exactly right. Now, Greg McCoy had a great point. He said, more lube catches more powder residue. You could not be more right. That is absolutely true. And that's, so that method that I use of slightly over oiling in the beginning, that means that you have to be a little bit more diligent about cleaning. Yeah. And most of you guys know I'm a little OCD. I mean, I am pretty hardcore about cleaning my guns after every use. Even if I take it to the range and shoot 10 rounds, it's coming home and it's getting completely cleaned. So that's part of the routine. So a little bit of extra residue and that sort of thing, you're exactly right. But if you're diligent about cleaning it, it shouldn't be too much of an issue.
Yeah, and I've got, the particular person I'm talking about is a buddy of mine, and when he puts oil and grease on his guns, it looks like he's literally putting petroleum jelly on his freaking guns. I mean, there's that much shit. And then when he's done, I told him, I said, that's gonna grab carbon and everything else. And he's like, no, it's not. And I said, okay, take this big wad of goo that you have on your gun. And so we scoop it out and you can feel it. It's gritty, and all that stuff's just sliding around in there, on his slide and stuff. And he's like, oh, wow, it feels like it has sand in it. And, now he's not lubing them as much, but he still puts a lot on there. Johnny Danger has a question. Any idea if there's smaller or short slide releases for the VP9 and the PPQ? He's a lefty and he gets slide lock because his finger hits the slide lock.
No, not that I'm aware of. I mean, I would go out to hkparts.net and look around there and see if there's anything. That's about the biggest HK Parts resource that I'm aware of.
Well, and my answer to Johnny is I own both of the guns. I've got the VP9 and the PPQ, and those are the only two guns that pretty much I always hit the slide lock because I have very large hands, or slide opening, slide release, whatever the hell you want to call it. Those are the two guns that get me every single time.
Interesting.
So, and I can throw my thumbs way out and then it won't happen, but 99% of the time it happens. Okay. Okay, so yeah, Gerald uses the copper Loctite lube, which comes from Glock. So, and I know a lot of people do use that on their Glocks.
Gerald uses WD-40. Well done.
Yeah, and I know Nolan and My Life Choices uses Ballistol, and I actually have Ballistol. I've had it forever, and I do like the product a lot. Matter of fact, I use it on knives. I use it on all kinds of stuff. You can even use Ballistol on any leather products you're trying to condition. I've even put it on some boots, just to soften them like a mink oil. And you can use Ballistol on leather, and it makes it really soft, and it definitely helps protect them. So. Hell, I just drink, Compton Terry uses hops and Battleborn, and hell, I just drink hops every morning, take a little shot of it. Hoppies, that's some good stuff right there.
Oh, goodness. Rabbi is saying, can we talk about how overrated the PPQ trigger is?
I think it is a really good trigger. I mean, the thing, and I guess we can go back to comparing the two guns. And I know that you've had both of them and shot them too. The VP9, I prefer the trigger being more forward on the VP9. They both have great triggers, but the PPQ, when I pull the trigger back, since my fingers are so large, it bottoms out. I mean, it really have to hook that trigger. And I have no problem doing that. But the VP9 breaks, a lot. You have more of a gap before it's hitting, it won't hit the back. And that's what I really like about that particular gun. They're good triggers. I mean, and I would say really out of the striker fires, the PPQ and VP9 have really great triggers right out of the box.
Yeah, they do. And there are going to be some people who probably won't like it that I'm about to say this, but I think the PPQ trigger is a little bit overrated as well. Now, I remember when I first picked up my PPQ back, this was maybe like November of 2016. I was blown away. It was the first time I'd ever handled one, and I will say it was an incredible trigger. But the more and more I shot that gun and got exposed to it, I started thinking a little bit about that, especially from a new shooter's point of view. I do not think it's a very good trigger, and the reason is because it's so light and that reset is so short. I don't. And I mean, obviously, everybody's perspective is going to be a little bit different on this, but I don't necessarily think that is a very good first shooter's trigger. I would say something a little bit heavier, a little bit more tactile, a little bit longer reset, just more as a training aid, and less likely to get fidgety and maybe make a mistake, and hopefully just on the range. But I think there's some other equally good triggers out there. It just kind of depends on what you're looking for. Frank, I know you're giving me the crazy face. I like the PPQ. It's fine. It has never inspired me that much, and that the trigger, although incredible, there are some downsides to that.
Yeah, and if you really want to get into, now I know this is double action, single action, but what's funny is if you get the P07 in single action, which you're only going to shoot double action one time, okay, and then after that you're in single action. But hell, a P07 in single action is 3 pounds 8 ounces, and it's lighter than the PPQ, and it's very underappreciated, but I guess in the striker fire market, a lot of people say that PPQ is the king of triggers for the striker fire market. So, it's depending on which pistol you're looking at too.
Right. And I've said for a little while now, I actually think the P10 for me is the sweet spot because it's not quite as light as the PPQ and the reset is not quite as good. I will admit it. I'll be the first to admit it. You guys have it on recording. This video is going to stay out there. So the P10 is just a little bit heavier on both sides of it, but I actually like that. I appreciate that because it's still very light. It's still very crisp. But to me, there's a little bit more meat there to work with. I actually kind of like that. It's still falling at like, I don't know, 4.5 pounds or something like that, which is fantastic. So real quickly, Mile High had a question. Has anyone seen the new Walther PPQ Tactical? I think it's the Q4 you're talking about.
Yes.
The slide cut out for the red dot. Any thoughts? So Mile High, I will admit, even though I kind of made fun of that gun a little bit when it first came out because I just kind of moved away from the PPQ and I was sort of not excited about it. I would like to see it. I am curious to see what it's like if it's exactly the same as a PPQ and just kind of cut around a little bit differently. I have yet to see a single one in town.
I've only seen videos of them, and if you look at the red dot on the rear or the RMR, it looks like it needs to be cut deeper. it's kind of almost like it's just sticking up there. But you know, hell, I mean, like I said, I don't think anything's wrong with the gun. It's just, you know, to each their own. Some people might not like it, some people might. So, you know, I say if it works for you, get it. And we do have a question or a comment, I guess I should say, as far as triggers. You know, yeah, 1911, a very nice 1911 trigger, and of course the CZTSO. Those two triggers really can't be beat. I mean, if you're talking about lightness and reset and things like that, a finely tuned 1911 trigger is very sweet.
Oh, without question.
Yeah.
Without question.
But of course, you're talking about, you know, a $500 gun versus, you know, a couple of $1,000 gun or $3,000 gun. So.
So there were a couple of things. First, I know LZ was talking about different colors on the VP9. I'm curious to know what colors those are. I know they've got the gray, the FDE, and the green. And then Hunts for Food is saying he's waiting for the M&P 2.0 with the RMR option on it. Is that actually coming out? Have they announced something like that, or is that a dream gun?
Oh, which one? The 2.0?
2.0 with an RMR already cut in it.
I've only seen the ones where people have already converted them, but I haven't, you know, that's the only thing that I've seen. I haven't seen where they're releasing it, and who knows? Hell, they might be. You know, they're kind of on that Glock train now. You know, so I have a feeling they're going to come out with it if they don't. I mean, it's probably on its way.
Yeah. Somebody shared with me a video, and I don't know if Mark Homiak is still on. It might have been him, but somebody shared a video about the PPS M2 with the red dot on it, that shield red dot, that little mini one.
Yeah.
And I know 17 has talked about that a couple of times. That thing looks pretty freaking sweet.
Yeah, it does. I mean, that little shield RMR looks pretty badass on that little bitty gun. So
yeah.
Johnny Danger has a question, and you know, you can answer this question too. Big Johnson, ever shot an STI or a Wilson Combat? Are they worth the prices?
Are you looking at me first?
Well, yeah, he's asking me, but I know that you've shot one of them.
Well, so I've shot a couple of higher end 1911s like Ed Brown, Dan Wesson, and then of course the Nighthawk, which I did a review on, and they are exquisite firearms. I have not had exposure to either of those. A Wilson Combat, I would love to try one of their 9mm 1911s. Those look pretty sweet, but you know, a fine quality 1911, man, that's like a fine bourbon, really is.
Yeah. Yeah, I have shot an STI, and I have also shot a Wilson Combat, and I've owned Ed Brown, Les Bear, stuff like that. But I have shot a Wilson Combat. They're great pistols, and never had a problem with it. They neither one of the STI or the Wilson Combat was my personal pistol. And then I was shooting a competition. After the competition, one of the guys that's sponsored by STI, his name's Mitch. He has a tricked out STI, so I shot his with his custom ammo, and then we used his custom ammo in my Shadow 2. And you know, the STI was a little weird where the bottom of the safety, it kind of kept spamming into my hand. But also, that wasn't my pistol. I wasn't used to shooting it. It shot fine, but I shot better groups with my Shadow 2, and then he actually shot the Shadow 2, and he shot better groups with my Shadow 2 than his own personal STI. But I think it's because of the weight. You know, the Shadow 2 seems a little heavier than his STI did. So,
yeah. Ball is saying that STI and Wilson Combat are only worth it if you are already proficient and you can appreciate details. So that's an interesting comment, and I can see where that would make sense to a point. Although obviously, if you've got money to kick around and you want one, you know, have at it. But that is a pretty hefty investment. I think, wasn't it Matt over on Demolition Ranch? He's got an STI 2011 over there that he's done on some 3-gun shoots, and that STI, it's absolutely beautiful. I think it's their tactical model.
Yeah. Well, they have. I mean, there's many different ones, but. And I know that Demolition Ranch just started doing 3-gun too, and he's got an STI too. So, and he was getting trained by some professional shooter. So it was a pretty interesting video.
Yeah.
Yeah, the slides on the STI are buttery smooth, and the double stack magazines are awesome. Yeah, I mean, STIs are buttery smooth. You know, the STI magazines are very expensive though. If you get the true STI magazines, they're not cheap. But you do want them to run reliable also.
Gotcha. Sorry, I got distracted for a minute. Rabbi Jesus was saying, I'm surprised how much Ruger was asking for their 1911s. And I don't know how often you come across some of their SR 1911s and that sort of thing. But I ran across one of their 9mm 1911s the other day, and I agree with you. It was like $850 or $900. And don't get me wrong, Ruger 1911s are fine. I've had a couple of SR 1911s, and I enjoyed the hell out of them. But that was just pretty pricey.
Yeah, and I mean, I honestly, I've never owned a. I can't remember if I've ever shot a Ruger 1911 personally. I don't think I have. Oh yeah, here's a question. Have any of you gotten your hands on the new XDS Mod 2?
The XDS Mod 2, I didn't know they had an XDS Mod 2.
That's what he's saying.
No, I've done reviews on the Mod 2 subcompact and compact, and they're fine guns. I mean, I know a lot of people are kind of anti Springfield Armory, which I understand, but they were decent guns. The reset was a little long, but otherwise, I thought they were very pleasant. I did not know they had the single stacks in the Mod 2 yet.
Yeah, I'm not a big personal fan of them just because of all the damn safeties. I think that's unneeded on that gun, but that's just me.
You know what? So I'm looking it up right now, and sure enough, I'm looking at the XDS Mod 2 3.3 single stack in 45 ACP. So it must be the XDE must have been the first single stack that they did the Mod 2 texturing in for single stacks. So now they've got the XDS. So that's pretty interesting. It'll be interesting to see one of those in person. I will say, and although Springfield made some pretty poor choices in terms of the Second Amendment last year, gun stores sell the crap out of them. So a lot of people really don't care, which, to take that for what it's worth, whatever. I think their prices have come down a little bit, and they're trying to give away all sorts of stuff with their guns. So they're selling the snot out of those things.
Yeah, no, they are. Bald City has an STD. Does that count?
Yes, it does.
Yeah, Keenan has the 97B. I do as well, and I really like that 45. The CZ 97B is a great pistol.
So I am seeing quite a few people say that, like RS Junior saying Springfield XD Mod 2, awesome. I mean, I'm certainly seeing some people out there who are fans of Firearms 101. I mean, like I said, I had a good experience with the Mod 2s, the subcompact especially, and that actually is one of my top 12 videos on the channel. So a lot of people are interested in that firearm.
Okay, what about a Taurus 1911?
I've never shot one. In fact, I've never shot a Taurus in my life.
Yeah, I've shot the Taurus. What is it? The knockoff PT90 or P? I guess it's the PT92 or something. I shot one of those, and it was okay. I mean, it didn't malfunction, and I put a lot of rounds through it, but I've never shot a 1911 version, so I'm not sure on that.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Yeah, Mateo says, screw Springfield. And I know, like I said, you're definitely going to have a lot of opinions on those. I got Humble in the house. And I agree with Channel Cat Chaser. Plastic pistols, been there, done that. I do carry them, and I like these with the double action, single action, but man, I can't. I think the last time I carried a striker fire was the VP9, and that was like a month ago.
Yeah.
So
I know we are getting close to 8 o'clock, so we probably need to tie this up in a minute. Gerald, real quickly, was saying he looked at a Springfield EMP4, and those 4s and actually the carry contours are very nice, but he can't support the company, which I totally understand, totally get. Plus, it was like $1,200. That is something I do not understand. I totally agree with you, Gerald. They're actually really good guns. I'm a fan of the EMP, but they are ridiculously overpriced. I think that's an $800 or $900 gun at best. So I've never understood why they priced them quite so high.
Yeah. Well, hell, if people buy them, what some people do, or some manufacturers, they'll start out real high, see if there's a demand for it, and then they'll bring it down if there's not, and I've seen a lot of places doing that too. So,
yeah.
All right. Well, again, we appreciate everyone in the chat, and if you didn't catch it before, Tundra Tactical is going to have a live chat Saturday night. So please don't forget to check out Tundra Tactical. Good guy. And please subscribe to everyone on the chat. Bunch of good channels in here. We always like to share the love. And we appreciate y'all as always being on. I've got a couple of things I'll be showing here soon. And that's about all I have. So.
Yeah, same deal for me. Just a couple of videos coming up. I mean, you guys already know, like the Scorpion, that sort of thing. But as always, we appreciate you guys for joining. And aside from Tundra's chat, I mean, there's some other guys out here that have some great chats. Bald and Curious has a great chat. The Three Gun Guys chat, and hopefully I said that right, Bald. Correct me or make fun of me later if you want. And Nolan, of course, I know he's been taking a little bit of a break, which I totally get and I can appreciate. But we always have a good time with him as well. So we love that you guys are all getting to know each other, and that's very, very cool. And it makes it much easier on us. So thank you guys again very much for joining us. We appreciate you all a lot. So happy Wednesday, and we will definitely see you guys later on.
Thanks, everyone. Carry on.
Thanks.